What's up, dudes and dudes here? And my name's Scyushi, and we're back in Trove. I know it's been a long time coming since we ended up having an actual recorded video. Oh my god. So earlier in the week, Trials of Luxion ended up starting. You guys have reported to me that the update is out on consoles now, so this tutorial will actually be relevant to you. Because the funny thing is, I already ended up having a tutorial, kind of a introduction, sort of, to the Trials of Luxion and what you actually do in there. This, however, is an updated, more definitive guide that's going to kind of treat it as if you already know what you're doing in terms of like the Luxion progression and stuff. I'll go over a little bit of it, but generally speaking, I've had a solid week's worth of grinding and a lot of great feedback from you guys that have been farming very, very efficiently with some nice little tips and a couple shout outs here and there. Did you know that we have our own little Luxion? Hi, my name is Luxion. I visit twice a month and sell garbage to kids. Okay, I gotta update this because that's no longer accurate. He now only visits once a month instead of two. So anyways, let's head on over into the hub. First and foremost, there is a new chat for this that people focus on called Trials. So at any time in the game, if you don't already know this, there's all these different hidden chats in the game. I wish there was a documented list of all of them. Maybe there is somewhere that I've never seen, but you just type /join space trials, one word. And that's kind of the main one that people are using. You know, there's ships, there's delves, all sorts of different chats. Again, if there was a list of all of it, that would be actually pretty dang awesome. Anyways, that is where you're going to end up finding other people that are trying to end up going into the delves, because not into the delves, sorry. Trials of Luxion. Oh my god, I just had a complete dad moment brain fart. But why do you want to end up communicating with other people? Well, because there is a possibility of doing AFK farms, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So if I insert some footage here, this is the best current method in order to farm the Venturine and thus craft yourself up the donuts, which are required for all of the Luxion items. Yes, that's right. You do not actually complete the Luxion trial quest line. Instead, you completely ignore that and just focus 100% of your attention on the invader enemies. Now on PC, you know, we've got an old mod that's out of date and only shows the little baby invaders. But the big ones are kind of the ones you really want to go out of your way for, because while the little ones have a chance of dropping some Venturine, the big ones have a chance of dropping a banner that you can then loot collect for additional adventurine on top of the adventurine that they'll drop. Sorry, I keep saying adventurine, but Luxion's inventory takes Venturine. Yes, that's right, it's a different resource. Just one of them has the letter A in it. It's because, hey, that's stupid. So what I've been actually doing is I go into difficulty 13 rather than the usual D15. And then what I'll do is I'll go through there, kill a bunch of the invaders, end up getting enough of the Venturine in order to craft my daily limit of the Luxion fragments, which is 15 per day. So what I end up doing beyond that is I'll complete the quest line for D13 up into D14, pushing the difficulty to the next level, not taking the reward, and then I'll ultimately push it into D15. The reason for this is because right by the NPC that gives you the quest line for the invaders, there's a little Digsley. So long as you've completed the quest line in regards to Luxion, there's going to end up being a Digsley NPC that sells various items in the various difficulties, but in D15 exclusively, he will sell resources that are used to craft Mystic gear, which is the strongest gear currently in the game. You can basically craft Crystal 5 gear that's completely maxed out into Mystic gear. That's currently the only way of obtaining it. In the future, it's supposed to be craftable, or maybe it'll be found from loot. I don't know. So with all of that out of the way, what about the Trials chat? And how do you end up doing AFK farms? Well, the funny thing is that the way that the portal works is if everybody is in the same hub area and is on the same server, that would be North America or European server, if you're all on the same server and you're all in the same hub and you all end up joining the portal at the same time, you will have a very likely chance of being thrown into that adventure world with each other. And I gotta give shout outs because KO7 was the one who told me, hey, I've been farming invaders. This seems to be the best method. And then Spooky told me about the AFK farm because he experienced it. I also owe shout outs to Atro as well. Just generally speaking, all gamers. Giga Chat gamers. So the invaders will drop every 2 minutes, not fast invaders. Sometimes they'll drop every 30 seconds, but nobody really knows why. The fast invaders seem to happen for a few hours at a time, and it's very good for the AFK farming. All the invaders, including the fast invaders or the normal invaders, whatever, will spawn in the direction you are looking, so you can force them to drop in a better location. I am assuming that when you're part of a farm, everybody kind of just leads the way and tells you what you're actually supposed to do in order to farm for. Here, everybody look north. I don't know. Another thing that I feel I need to mention, because I don't know if I talked about in my last Luxion video, but let's talk about the Venturine and the resources as a whole, because there's a lot of things that the game doesn't really tell you with regards to Venturine and also with regards to all of these portals. So you can kind of just skip up to the highest difficulty that you can handle. Normally, I would go straight into D15 if I was playing on Boomeranger or something, because unfortunately, when you're in the Luxion world, the game will actually nerf both your movement speed and your jumps. So there's a weird thing that you can craft for Luxion's favor, Luxion favor being a resource you get for completing Luxion's questline. You'll end up spending the Luxion favor to increase your movement speed temporarily for 3 hours. You can increase your jump, you can increase your stats overall. Movement speed's the only one that I've ever seen anybody go for. And because of that, why do I use Shadowhunter in D13? Because I can shoot enemies from afar. And just generally speaking, I'm most comfortable on Shadowhunter because I love the class. So here's some of the Fragment of Unfortunate Souls. You can basically break down an Unfortunate Soul for some Luxion favor, but then otherwise the Unfortunate Soul can be crafted for some Luxion favor or for 450,000 flux, and then the cost increases from thereafter with every additional craft. This is why I go from D13 fighting invaders, and then when I'm done, I go into D14 and into D15, basically not claiming my reward until I'm in D15 so that it forces the difficulty up. It spits you back in the hub, you come back down here, a new portal should open without you having to craft any of this crap. This guy also sells these portals for qubits, but for some stupid dumb reason, he only sells a limited quantity for qubits. The reason all of this is really important is because everything in regards to the new Venturine resource and crafting and stuff, it all perpetually increases in price. So the Venturine cost to craft the donuts slowly gets more and more expensive the more things that you end up crafting, which is why there is a handy donut calculator that somebody ended up figuring out. Here it is. This is also where you can calculate dragon coins and various other things. It's a great website. I'll put a link in the description. But basically, you can calculate, okay, how many do I need? It's going to cost, show you the starting cost, show you the, how much it's going to end up increasing for that day, so on and so forth. I'd also like to mention that while I did in fact craft the stupid Luxion dragon egg, as if that wasn't enough, it is now going to also cost me an additional 400 Venturine donuts, which means I can't get Luxion this visit. I have to wait until next freaking month. Like, talk about adding unnecessary steps. But the only real main resource that a lot of end gamers are going for is the new dragon and potentially the new ally, just because mastery. Otherwise, everything else is just Luxion's old items, but at a cost, like a significant increase to the dragon coins. But then also it now costs the additional Venturine, which is a resource that will expire when Luxion goes away, and Luxion only comes back once a week every single month. In any case, this video has already gone on long enough for something that's supposed to be a definitive, quicker guide. Hopefully you ended up finding it helpful, and if you did, smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have yourselves a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen.